Alright, so today we're going to be installing the AGG Racing Smog block-off plates on a 2008 to 2012 R6. First thing you need to do is remove the seat, which is easily done with two Allen key bolts. I believe they're 6 millimeters. You'll end up lifting up the seat a little bit, like so, exposing those. My brother got ECU reflash by Anthony himself of Boss Racing. Once the seat comes off, you're going to actually remove these plastic side panels. Yours might look a little bit different. My brother has the tech spec grip pads, and for that you're just going to use a Phillips screwdriver. And there's one on each side at the rear end of the tank, and we'll show you how to take off these plastic plates as well. They can be a little bit tricky unless you know exactly what you're doing, in which case they're very simple. So first what you're going to do is you're going to peel up a little bit, and then you're just going to slide the whole thing forward. And there are two tabs. First one we've got right here, which ends up sliding into that tab right there. And then there's a forward one, which is right here, where this tab ends up sliding into. So as long as you slide them back and forth along the gas tank, you will have no problems. Alright, so there's going to be two screws to be able to lift up the gas tank using a 5 millimeter Allen key. We've got a nice Motion Pro T-handle spinner. There's going to be one on this side, and then one on the opposite side, and then the third one is actually going to be right in the center portion, right next to the triple tree, which my brother has removed for his Hyper Pro linear damper. Next up, after all three screws have been removed, we're going to lift the gas tank up. My brother does have a full gas tank to expose the airbox, and we're just going to use a piece of wood to ledge it open. We're not going to bother taking off the gas tank entirely. I think we're just a little too lazy to take off all of these hoses and fuel valves and electrical connectors that are seen under there. Not too difficult though. There are definitely some do-it-yourselfs on the forums. Alright, so there are 10 screws holding the airbox down, symmetrical, so there's 2, 4, 6, 8. There's actually going to be 2 in the back that you'll have to remove. My apologies, there was a center screw and 11th screw that needs to be taken off before you take off the top of the airbox. You can hinge that out of the way. We could disconnect it to clear it if you want. Yeah. Alright. Clip that Yamaha uses. What you do is you end up pinching the yellows on the sides, and then you end up rotating this orange clip, and it disconnects. However, there is fuel that goes from the tank up into it, and it goes into the top of the airbox, and that's where it actually squirts in the fuel over towards the throttle bodies. And we're actually going to disconnect, because the tank is actually kind of heavy being full. So we're going to disconnect a couple connectors, tubes, and we're actually going to take off this bolt that allows the tank to swivel. Alright, so now we've got the gas tank finally removed. It took a little bit of fiddling. So I'm going to show you a couple of the connectors that were there. This one right here was, again, you squeeze where the blue colors are, and what happens is you're actually just going to twist off. But however, this one does have fuel in it, which also leads up to the orange end. Then there's a white connector with a normal little pinch tab that you just press and then pull down. No fuel in that one. And then there's also the green one as well, with the same little tab right there that you'll squeeze and pull down. No fuel comes out of there. And right now we've actually got the top of the airbox just dangling. Next up, we're going to remove, with 4 millimeter Allen keys, we're actually going to remove the throttle bodies as well as the airbox To get rid of the air box, there's actually two tabs up top that you're actually just going to lift and pull, and off it comes. And next up, we got to remove a couple of the heat shields to gain access further down. And this is the same thing that you would do to gain access to your spark plugs. Alright, and in the center here, there's going to be a little plastic rivet, and you'll just take a flathead screwdriver and pry it up and out. Then you should be able to slide that metal thing to the right, metal tab, and this plastic piece should come right on out. So after some fiddling, this hard plastic piece, we actually took a couple screwdrivers and we wedged them through the sides and pried up, and then out comes this heat shield. Alright, now we gotta disconnect a couple things down there, but further on down, terrible lighting, I apologize, there are actually the coil packs that sit on top of the spark plugs. Okay, so after much fiddling around, we actually got the air pump, which had these two side hoses, side clamps, that were connected to both sides. This one as well, and then we had a connector that we disconnected. That silver thing down there is a Smog block off. Next up, we're going to remove these two hoses on both sides, one for each, and then we'll end up removing the plates. And then this is just some heat shielding that I'm actually just peeling back. So the easiest thing to do is to use a wrench to torque off using one of the Allen keys or a hex bit. There are two screws. One, we're doing the first one, and then the second one's further on the left. And these ones might take a little while. These are Loctited, which means that you also need to apply some Loctite upon reinstallation as well. And the little yellowy circle thing, that is the coil pack, or ignition coils, which sit on top of the spark plugs. Alright, so this is the gorgeous AGG Racing Smog block off plate. And Mike is going to be, he's taking off the stock Smog block off part, because we actually need the black. He's actually uninstalling these copper little plates, because we actually need that black stock piece to be able to go under here to be reinstalled.